What's up, everybody? I'm James,
I'm Crystal.
and this is Our Killer Obsession.
Today, we're bringing you the story of Chandler Halderson. Let's start with the Halderson family. The Halderson family consists of Bart and Krista, and their two sons, Mitchell and Chandler. Bart and Krista were married on July 30th, 1994. They raised their two sons in Windsor, Wisconsin. Bart was a certified accountant who loved to golf, and Krista was an administrative assistant who loved cooking and crafting. Together, they were very active in their community, being involved in Kiwanis, Boy Scouts, and the UW-Madison Outreach Program. In 2021, their son Mitchell was working in tech and was engaged to be married. Successful eldest son. Chandler, the youngest, was going to community college in Madison, Wisconsin, studying for a degree in renewable energy engineering. He worked part-time for an insurance firm and also supposedly had a job with SpaceX lined up for the future.
Sweet.
He had a steady girlfriend named Catherine Kat Melander, who was 21 years old at the time, and they had been dating for 2 years. She loved to hang out at their house. She was very close to the parents. It's told that Bart and Krista were very welcoming and loving to her, and Bart was always eager to help, and Krista liked to share cooking tips and crafting and doing girly holiday stuff with her, so they were pretty close. Seemed to be a normal, happy American family.
Heck yeah.
On July 2nd, 2021, Krista Halderson did not show up for work, so her coworker friend, Daniel, began to worry. He was trying to get in touch with her. He was calling. She wasn't answering, so he went straight to her home, knocked on the door, and talked to Chandler, their youngest son. He lived at home at the time, and he told the coworker that his parents had gone to their family cabin for the 4th of July weekend. Not an odd situation at all. That's something people do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little odd that she didn't tell her friends about it at work, but
Yeah, possibly.
not out of the ordinary.
Maybe she forgot to mention it.
Right.
Yeah.
But when Bart and Krista did not return home from the cabin on July 4th weekend, they were not answering calls, they were not answering text messages, the coworker was started to get concerned. So he urged Chandler to go to the police for help. And on Wednesday, July 7th, Chandler reported his parents missing to the Dane County Sheriff's Office, telling detectives that his mom and dad were picked up at 7 a.m. and driven to the cabin by a couple he did not know. And he had not seen them the morning they left.
And this is, 3 days after they're supposed to be back? Or
Well, 4th of July weekend, probably be home by the 6th, I would imagine.
Okay, so maybe just a day or so.
Couple days, yeah.
Okay.
As detectives began investigating the disappearance of Bart and Krista, Chandler started knocking on neighbors' doors asking if they had heard from his parents, which I think is kind of strange. I feel like if they're going to get a hold of anybody and talk to them, it would be him or his brother or somebody closer to the family. But
yeah, not a neighbor, but you never know, I guess.
Some rando. Like, oh, tell my son I'm okay. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
On July 8th, 2021, Bart and Krista's oldest son, Mitchell, drove to the family cabin 3 hours north of Windsor to look for them. The county sheriff's deputies met him there, and together they searched the property. But it was very obvious nobody had been there. Nothing was touched. Nobody was ever in the cabin probably in over a year. Everything was dusty and dirty.
Oh, okay. So they didn't even get there.
Nobody had been there for a long time.
Wow.
So detectives interviewed friends and neighbors of Bart and Krista. They wanted to learn more about Chandler's whereabouts over the holiday weekend. Authorities started to suspect Chandler's story wasn't really adding up, so they picked him up and brought him in for questioning. That interview lasted for about 2 hours. Chandler told detectives his parents had gone to the cabin to take care of a plumbing emergency and that he actually helped them pack the tools that morning.
Okay.
What happened to I didn't see them that morning?
I mean,
they were picked up by some mysterious couple for a holiday vacay up there.
Red flag.
Big time. While detectives were talking to Chandler, though, they received different information that changed the tone of the interview altogether. Chandler's girlfriend's family made contact with the investigation team directly. They owned a farm at Cottage Grove, just a few miles from the Halderson home. They had spent time with Chandler on the farm over the 4th of July weekend with Kat.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then he came back by himself on July 5th. He asked if he could use their pool.
Okay.
Alone.
All right. And maybe just want to take a dip, right? Nothing else to do.
Yeah, sure. But after a while, they decided to check on him, and they saw Chandler was in the overgrown area far from the pool, just before the land opened out into brush and forestry. He was there with his SUV parked and the hatch was open, which they thought was really weird. So he was nowhere near the pool. He was out in the open field near the woods with his trunk open.
Yeah, obviously doing something abnormal enough to stand out and
Right.
be like, whoa, what's he doing
Yeah.
way over there? And he's
On a
supposed to be swimming.
property where he had never been before either.
Another red flag, right?
Big time. So while they're getting this information, they're grilling Chandler about his missing parents, and he lawyers up. He's like, I'm not going to talk anymore. And he also acted really sus in the interviews. He was emotionless.
Yeah, I watched some of his, him and his girlfriend's interrogation tapes, and he is just real monotoned and kind of like he's bored or he's just not interested in being there, and his stories keep changing up, and just,
Yeah.
it was just a hot mess, man.
Mm-hmm. And getting this information, detectives immediately searched the area of the farmland and found what they least expected. Just behind the tree line, covered with some loose branches and undergrowth, was a human torso of an adult male. Yeah. Nearby, an overturned black garbage can sat out of place among the greenery. Forensic teams arrived and continued to search and found an old metal drum with a side cut out, and inside were like scissors, a hacksaw, a broken long saw blade, and there was a bunch of blood inside.
Uh-oh.
They were all collected, obviously, and taken back to the crime lab. Halderson was arrested that evening, initially on a charge of providing false information regarding a missing person. The autopsy confirmed that the torso they found was his dad, Bart. It also showed that he had been shot in the abdomen twice from behind, and that's what would have killed him, they said. But where was the rest of his body?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, that's a lot of body parts to be missing.
And
right?
all
You
they
just
found-
got the torso.
Yep, no head, no arms, no legs, no hands, no feet, just
Wow.
the torso.
Wow.
And
And
where
why-
was mom?
Yeah, where's mom, and why just dad's torso's out there? You know,
Right. Where's the rest of him? And why did he choose his girlfriend's family's farm?
Maybe he felt comfortable. You know, maybe he thought there'd be no questions asked. You know,
Yeah,
hey,
why
you're
he
gonna
was
take a
out
dip
there.
in the pool, okay? You know, and maybe they just be oblivious doing their thing in the house or something, and he'd have enough time to do his thing and be out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So authorities continued searching for Krista, not knowing if she was still alive or dead, what happened to her. They had a press conference, and the Dane County Sheriff asked the community to stay alert, keep looking for her, any tips, call them in. But a major break came in from an unexpected source.
Okay.
Apparently, Snapchat.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Snapchat.
Snapchat.
All right.
So Chandler's girlfriend, Kat, gave investigators permission to download data from her phone. Detectives say she would keep tabs on Chandler by using Snapchat. So you know how it allows you to track a friend's location? I know.
Yeah,
To track a friend's location in real time.
right.
I don't have that on mine. I think that's weird.
Yeah.
You know,
For
I don't
sure.
want people watching where I'm at all the time.
24/7. Yeah.
Right, and just anybody you're friends with on Snapchat.
Right.
You know, some
Anybody
people just
pop it open
add
and-
everybody. Yeah, no, thank you. Well, she did this apparently because Chandler had been unfaithful in the past, and tracking him was something they had agreed on for their relationship to continue.
Well, I mean, hey, you know, whatever works, I guess, right?
I mean, you're supposed to build on trust, right? But
Hey, you know, people
hey.
do it different.
Well, it worked out in this case. On July 3rd, she spotted Chandler on Snapchat near the Wisconsin River, and she had taken screenshots of it because he told her that he was supposed to be doing chores that day, and she's
Okay.
like, "You son of a gun!
Yeah.
What are you doing down by the river, you
Cheating
jerk?"
on me? Yeah.
Yeah. So she saved it to grill him about it later,
Oh,
which
okay.
good thing she did. When detectives searched the Snapchat location, they found a set of human legs.
Oh.
Yeah, the medical examiner later confirmed they were the remains of Krista, his mom, and he was charged with his mother's murder.
Holy cow. Yeah, that's some solid evidence there. That puts you at the scene where they're finding the body parts. I mean,
Exactly.
smoking gun.
The location where Snapchat had him apparently was a familiar place to Chandler. Detectives say it was his favorite swimming hole in a remote area with access to the river.
Okay, so this is another location that he knows and feels comfortable going to.
There's even a photo of him posing near the location.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so he knew the area well.
Yeah, just like the in-laws' house or the girlfriend's
Yes,
mother's
the
house.
in-laws'
You know?
house,
Yeah. Felt comfortable.
In September 2021, Chandler pled not guilty to murdering, dismembering, and hiding the bodies of his parents, Bart and Krista. The trial began in January 2022, Dane County prosecutors told the jury Chandler murdered his parents because they had discovered he had been lying to them about his attendance at college and his possible job prospects.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to be at the community college, right?
Hmm.
And having this job with SpaceX and this insurance job. Well, apparently it's all BS.
Wow, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow.
He had created an elaborate web of lies that were beginning to slip the deeper he got. His dad wanted to know why, where's your money? You got a job, why aren't you paying rent or, paying for any of your bills?
Yeah.
And they were starting to ask for his certificates from college. He's supposed to be done. Where's your diploma?
Okay, yeah.
What's going on? So he set up this elaborate fake email scheme and was making up like deans of the school and people that had his certificates, and he had copied his dad onto it, so his dad was receiving these emails as well.
Making it look all legit.
Yep. And he made it look like the administration was holding up everything on their end. So he knew a new job, an apartment, and a car, and all this money was supposed to materialize at some point.
Right.
But it wasn't.
Yeah, it just ain't happening. So what the hell, man?
So apparently Bart was losing his patience with the college. He's like, you're holding up my kid's diploma. You're holding up his future. What is going on?
Yeah, because according to the emails that he's got going, it's the school's fault.
Right, yeah. He made it look like it's an administrative holdup.
Yeah,
they're holding
and he
his diploma,
believes his son right now.
And there's a bunch of back and forth going on. And they're just not getting it worked out. So his dad's like, son of a bitch,
Yeah,
I'm going to call myself.
Yeah.
So on July 4th weekend, he called the school directly. The conversation with the admissions administrator really blew Bart's mind. So at first he was irate with the administrators, like it's your fault. But they started to tell him, like, Chandler never finished any courses. He's not enrolled in any courses.
Wow.
And he actually owed the college thousands of dollars.
Whoops.
Yeah. And then all the names from the emails Bart gave them, they're like, those aren't even real people.
Wow. So the whole can of worms opened up.
Big time.
Wow.
Yeah. Blew up in Chandler's face.
Wow.
Bart then arranged an in-person meeting with the college the afternoon of July 1st. And we know Chandler knew about it because it was in text messaging between him and Bart. Those were the last text messages between him and Bart.
Okay.
So prosecution believes that this is what prompted Chandler to kill his parents. Like he got backed into a corner, couldn't dig himself out of his lies anymore.
I don't want to say like it makes sense, but it makes sense. We've seen and heard of people killing for much less.
Much less, yeah.
So, I mean, apparently he thought that was his only course of action.
Right.
Yeesh.
Prosecutors also presented evidence of Chandler buying a tarp and 20 pounds of ice. Yeah. They say the tarp is similar to the tarp found in the garage of the farm where the father's body was recovered, the torso. Okay. They also connected Krista and Bart's DNA to all the tools found in that metal drum.
Yeah, because they said when they found them, they were covered in
blood.
a red substance, or how they don't like to label it as blood. So
not at first, yeah.
it was a red substance, and they tested it, and there it is.
Prosecutors also showed the jury a photo of broken glass from the Halderson fireplace and a video from a neighbor's security camera capturing the flickering light coming from a window in the Halderson home that the neighbor found odd. Why is the fireplace going on the 4th of July? And we know we're from the Midwest. It's humid. Hot and humid in July.
Yeah, yes. Some of them
You're not
July
running your
4th
fireplace.
nights are miserable, and you can't wait till the dark comes because that's when it finally gets.
There's
just
no
a little
fireplace.
cool.
You're having a fan and air conditioner blowing right on you.
Yes.
Yeah. So they believe that's where Bart and Krista were killed, was right in the home. They testified that there were more than 200 bone fragments found in the fireplace.
Wow.
And they think that's the parts that were never found. Everything else had been burned. So the only parts left were the legs and the torso.
Wow. I mean, that would make sense, but holy cow, puppy. That means that means his whole entire mother went in there besides her legs.
Exactly.
And then all of dad went in there besides his torso.
Exactly.
Holy
they never
cow.
found anything else.
Wow.
They also said there was a ton of blood in the basement. It had been cleaned up. Pictures with regular lighting, the basement looks fine. It looks clean. It looks nice. But when you put the luminol on it and shine it with a black light, it was glowing.
Yeah, it lit up. I seen the picture and stuff. It lit up.
A gun was also found hidden in the barn of the farm where Bart's remains were found, and they believe that is the weapon used to kill Bart. The medical examiner was unable to determine how Krista died. We know Bart was shot, and they said that's had to be what killed him.
Right.
But there's only legs for Krista, so there's really no way to determine how she died.
I'm just going to assume he took the coward easily way out with his mom, too, and shot her as well.
I would
she
imagine.
wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, Chandler's defense attorneys are cuckoo for this one. So they came up with a wild defense for this kid. They tried to say no one actually knew what had happened in the deaths of Bart and Krista, so maybe Chandler didn't kill them. Maybe in a panic, he made a terrible choice to dismember and dispose of their bodies.
I mean, that's mind-blowing, right? But it did work for somebody else.
Robert Durst
got away with murdering somebody in self-defense, panicking.
His first murder conviction, trial.
Right. We should do 1 or 2 on him. Yeah. He got away with it. Said he panicked, didn't know what to do, so he decided to cut the body up, put it in bags, and throw it in the.
And he won with a self-defense plea. Right. He said it was self-defense. This guy attacked him, so he killed him, chopped him up, bagged him up, threw him in the ocean.
Didn't know what to do. It worked.
Innocent.
So maybe this is what his defense is like. Hey, it worked for him. Why won't it work for my client? Right.
But also, they're not giving any kind of well, maybe this person did it.
Right.
Although that's not their job.
Right.
It's prosecutor's job to prove.
Yeah.
And all the defense has to do is prove that it wasn't him. Just any kind of doubt. Yeah. But still, you think when you're putting something like that out there, you'd be like, it was that.
Oh, for sure. Especially when the prosecution has a girlfriend that's probably willing to testify against him with what she knows and her Snapchat that puts him in the location of mom's legs. So you got to come up with more than that as defense, right?
Big time. Yeah. Crazy. So the jury deliberated for 2 hours, and Chandler was found guilty on January 20th, 2022 of 2 counts each of first-degree intentional homicide, lying to investigators, mutilating a corpse, and hiding a corpse for the July killings of Bart and Krista. He was sentenced in March of 2022 to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Good.
Which he deserved, 100%.
Yep, for sure.
Do they not do the death penalty in Wisconsin?
I'm not sure. I guess we'd have to look that up. He would definitely qualify for it, I
would
think.
say. Yeah. So research uncovered in an unrelated criminal trial in Dane County later determined that under state statute, convictions for hiding a corpse can only be imposed when evidence is not strong enough to support a conviction for mutilating a corpse.
Okay.
So, the judge in the Halderson case said that the jury for Halderson should not have been presented with the option of convicting him on both charges, and he vacated the convictions for hiding a corpse. Yeah, it's just all legal mumbo jumbo. Yeah. But it doesn't change his
he's gone forever.
Life.
He's never going to get
life
a chance to get
parole.
out. That little charge, that's not little, but that charge don't really matter. We're just going to go ahead and...
Yeah, he's still got the murder on him, so...
Yeah, the judge is just doing what he has to do.
Just to make sure things aren't overturned later.
For sure. No issues. Let's make sure this piece of scum sits where he's supposed to sit, and, we don't have any issues.
Exactly. That's the story of Chandler Halderson, and we thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and please don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe on your way out of here. It will surely help our channel grow.
Definitely. We'll see you next week.